Hello everyone, you are watching 1CW right here on the Delmarva Sports Network. I'm Juan Antonio Acevedo, and today in our main event, the DSN Television Championship is on the line as Miles Millennium defends the title against the returning Jason Andrews. Also on today's episode, we bring you an exclusive interview with Tommy Fame, who just last week we saw attacking his former partner, Jake Blake. Also tonight, the former 1CW heavyweight champion, Brian Morris, will be in action. But right now, let's quickly move on to our opening contest because the Horribles are in action and they are taking on Tons of Fun.
This match, an example of the more things change, the more they stay the same in more ways than one. We have seen a long-term rivalry between Tons of Fun and the Horribles as both teams have dominated the tag team scene, but this is not the combination of the Horribles that have historically duked it out with Tons of Fun. We've seen a lot of different combinations of the Horribles, starting with Mark Haro and Muddy Waters, later Mark Haro and Samael Harris. And now Harris, sort of a generational trauma continued, serving in the Haro role as Billy Wahoo and Wyatt Ravage represent the Horribles and all the terrible lessons that Samael Harris has had beat into him by Mark Haro. He is now inflicting on this team. There is an edict in the crowd that says if Tons of Fun enters the ring, you gotta dance. Them's the rules. We don't make them, we just follow them. But Wyatt Ravage, well, that rabbit don't dance. When's the last time you think Wyatt and Wahoo washed their gear? Shades of a previous iteration of Samael Harris. Maybe teaching them the lessons of poor hygiene. The train has left the station, and it just landed right into a rabbit. What's for dinner tonight in Funville, USA? Pretty sure it's roadkill. Wyatt, the Savage Ravage, on top of JT, taking advantage. Now raking him across the coals into a bad side of town. Samael Harris channeling his best Joaquin Phoenix with that horrific laugh. The Viking Billy Wahoo. And we have seen Wahoo and Wyatt team before long ago when Billy Wahoo was very first beginning his stint as a pro wrestler. As I said, a short-lived duo in the Workhorses. They used to be considered the heart and soul of this company, and they have been perverted into what you see before you. And JT getting a trip on Billy Wahoo as Samael Harris looking to interject himself. Tons of Fun. This particular duo has more experience than this particular combination of the Horribles. And one has to wonder where exactly the mastermind is. Samael getting a few cheap shots in, unsurprising, highly expected. This is the playbook of the Horribles, and they are teaching it to the new blood. Hurt people, and if you have been under the tutelage of Mark Haro, you've been hurt. Billy Wahoo rolling JT into the center of the ring, but only one. JT has been struggling ever since he missed that charge. Simple and effective offense by the Horribles. As JT now fighting from underneath, but gets rocked right across the jaw. And that's the difference between a body shot and a hit on the chin. Billy Wahoo showing some aggression, showing some of the lessons he has been learned in whatever kind of training camp the Horribles run. I'm pretty sure there's a few plywood boards and an outhouse. They do not seem like they are training in top level facilities. No performance center anymore. They no longer represent the workhorses, so they ain't training in those facilities anymore. But they learn how to be tough and they learn how to be rugged. You gotta be tough if you try and muscle over JT, using his size and weight and power to the advantage, but has to try and make it into friendlier territory and tag in Eazy-E, the freshest man in the match. Billy Wahoo had the opportunity to potentially tag in Wyatt, but taking a victory lap a little too early. You see JT was trying to effectively fall onto Wahoo and get a pin right there, but couldn't find the landing, much to Wahoo's good fortune. Both men are down. It's a real question of who is able to come to their wits first. Eazy-E trying to will JT over. And you see, this has been a much more direct and to the point. Tons of fun. There's been a little less dancing ever since they got that first big win, ever since they became tag team champions. And now, Eazy-E in! Legal for the first time, or sorry, the second time, I believe. He did well the first time. Let's see if he can pick it up. And the airplane spin could cause Wyatt to lose his lunge, and low blow by Billy Wahoo. Samael Harris playing dividends, and the chicken wing applied. Wahoo trying to hold JT on the outside, and Eazy-E's arm goes down a third time. The legacy continues even with the maestro of mayhem, Mark Haro, not present. His disciples are carrying on in his name without him. Unwilling to share the ring.
Last week, right here in 1CW, we saw what could have been the beginning of a brand new tag team when Tommy Fame and Jake Blade teamed up to take on Tons of Fun. Let's take a look.
Everybody here has turned their back on me and put my head on that map.
Mike C. with the first few streaks of the Trimmers.
You gotta promise me you won't turn your back on me. Forever. Forever? Forever.
Jake Blake trying to give Tommy Fame a little bit of pointers. Tommy Fame shaking him off. Looks like a triple decker to me. Blake, JT taking them both over.
Reversal of fortune there.
Fame not exactly happy about that. Easy Eve just barreling through that double clothesline. Up on the shoulders, he's going for the drop. What's it gonna be? Backdrop cover.
Maybe if we had done it the right way, it would have worked. This is why you don't have any friends.
After those horrible actions, Ryan was able to move really quick and secure an exclusive interview with Tommy Fame. Let's take a look.
And last show was crazy, man.
Tommy.
Like I had a match, and this kid wanted
Tommy.
to team with me. He stood my way, so
Tommy.
he listened. I'm on the phone, man.
But I've been waiting an hour for you to do this interview.
All right, let me call you back. I'll tell you about when I dropped him on his head later. You don't even got a chair for me.
There's one right there. You kicked it earlier.
Hi, Ryan.
I hope you're comfortable. As you can tell, I am Reverend Ryan Sullivan, and I am here with 1CW's most controversial and polarizing talent, Tommy Fame.
Hey.
Tommy, you have requested this interview time, and for some reason, 1CW management has allowed you to have this said time. They've asked me to host this, and I have, on the condition that you will not make any physical contact with me. With that said, what's on your mind, Tommy?
What's on my mind? Where is my mind, Ryan? Where is my mind? I have no clue where it is. No. I think I found it. My mind is still hanging on the fact that I almost broke Jake Blake's neck after our match. He didn't want to listen to it my way.
So, I guess I'll ask you, why did you drop Jake Blake on his neck?
Say it again.
What? Why did you drop Jake Blake on his neck at last month's 1CW show?
Doesn't it sound good?
No, it sounds awful.
I dropped him on his neck. Bam! And I got up on the top rope. Bam! And now, he's barely walking. Kid's in a wheelchair. My fault. My bad. But other than that, he will not be able to walk if he ever tries me one more again.
So is this leading to a match with Jake Blake? What could possibly lead to this?
I know Jake might run. He ain't gonna run, let's be honest. He ain't running after what I did. He might limp or get pushed around or something to the board and ask them, hey, I'd like to fight Tommy Fame. I know I can beat him. And all those 1CW fans might cheer for it and want it. But they're just asking for a death wish on that kid. Because if he has a match with Tommy Fame, I'm going to make sure he doesn't walk out after. I'm going to make sure he has to be on medical assistance after. Even better, Ryan, I'll make sure he never picks up that rotten kid of his ever again.
That's despicable.
See, I'm Tommy Fame. I've never brought a kid into this world, but I am not gonna flinch if I gotta take a man out of it.
I don't know that we have any more information or understanding,
Yeah,
but
I'm done here.
Thank you, Ryan, for that exclusive interview with Tommy Fame. Right now, let's keep on going to our next match because the man that actually shaved Tommy Fame is in action, Mike Z, and he's taking on the former 1CW heavyweight champion, Brian Morris.
It seemed like Mike Z had made the right decisions, had gone down the right path. He allied himself with Tommy Fame. He finally got some success. He finally got some respect, but it wasn't him. And as soon as Mike Z found himself on the outside due to injury, all those opportunities, well, they were stolen from him by Tommy Fame. And Mike Z learned an important lesson. If you want to make it to the top, you got to be the best version of yourself, the true version of yourself. That's why Brian Morris couldn't become the champion until he embraced who he is either. If you're a snake, be a snake. Mike Z is a good guy and a great wrestler. Brian Morris, maybe not as great a guy. Also a great wrestler. These two are really finding the ideal and optimal versions of themselves, and they face each other in a match where I would say Mike Z on the surface has more to prove, going up against a former champion of 1CW. Wait a second. That t-shirt's now officially a Wonder Wipe. But Brian Morris, wow. A wild charge, and Mike Z doing to Brian Morris what almost everyone in this crowd wishes they could. You want to talk about a fantasy of projection. There's a lot of people in the back, a lot of people in the audience, a lot of people in the office that are putting themselves in the position of Mike Z in their mind right now because they want a little bit of satisfaction. Brian Morris may not be seeing the lights yet, but he is certainly seeing stars. Flopping down center of the ring, Mike Z has wrestled a near perfect match. One mistake by Brian Morris early on, a rage-fueled swing, and Mike Z has not aired since. These two know each other very well. They have trained out of the same facility. We have a strong, close relationship with our friends at the Monster Factory in New Jersey, where both these men came up, continue to improve their craft, so they know each other very well. And there is no love lost between them. Mike Z can't apply mercy as Brian Morris trying to sneak out underneath, begging off yet again, only lasts so long because Mike Z is onto him. And finally, Brian Morris gets an opportunity to take a breath and try and turn things around. It is the beginning of many a downfall of a former champion. You rise to the top, you lose. How do you deal? How do you deal with that disappointment? Are you able to stay at your best? Or does that loss come to define you? How do you know when your best days are over? You know, wait a second. And that's the importance of having someone to watch your back. Brian Morris coming from above. Watch your head, Mike Z. And that casket is out here menacingly. But if Mike Z's not careful, Brian Morris is going to look to put Mike Z's career in the casket. For Brian Morris, there's only two ways to go. Back to the top with a bullet or straight to the bottom. And Brian Morris only wants to go in one direction, forward. Largely because, as you can tell, he wants to get away from the people in Houston, Delaware as quickly as possible. I'm not saying I agree. I'm just saying that Brian Morris has been very vociferous with his distaste for the Houston faithful. James Rudy making the count. Brian Morris taking advantage of 4 out of the 5 offered to him. Quick cover after the knee drop. Brian Morris is so technically sound. It's the details that matter, and Brian Morris has the details down. It's the little things, the positioning like that. Look at the way he landed that left foot right before the snap of the suplex to get a little bit of extra power, a little bit of extra leverage. And if Brian Morris has a weak spot, it's the fact that as much as he doesn't want to care about what other people think about him, it's very clear he does still care what other people think about him. If he was completely ruthless, if he was completely incapable of worrying about other people's thoughts and feelings, he might be unstoppable. But that is just a little bit of weakness, a little bit of rust on the armor, is that no matter what Brian Morris says, he is still rattled by the words of the crowd. And sometimes it fuels him, and sometimes it gets in his way. At his best, Brian Morris takes that anger out on his opponent, Mike Z, rolling up. Mike Z has been forever trying to hit that Mike Z guarantee, that move, that moment that will define his career, to launch him into the upper echelon of 1CWs. Tonight, the night, is he going to get that guarantee over a former holder of Big Blue? And these are those moments we talk about. Impeccable performance, that clothesline perfectly placed on Mike Z, but taking not even a victory lap, a derision lap, just making sure Brian Morris to look right straight in the eyes of our fans, let them know, yeah, I did it, I can do it. But sometimes you got to think about what feels good, and you got to think about what actually gets the job done, and what feels good doesn't always get the job done. Could this match be over if Brian Morris was really, truly able to focus on nothing but the task at hand? Mike Z knows what's at stake, knows that this is an opportunity to move up the card. Hit from behind. Brian Morris grabs the arm. Perfect positioning by Brian Morris, not allowing Mike Z to get that bottom rope. And it hurts harder when you don't see it coming. It's true. A drop kick is going to be bad no matter what, but you have a moment, even just an instant where you see it coming at your face, you can flinch, or you can brace, or you can get a hand up to try and block. When something comes at you at the back of your head, there is no defense, and it rocks you harder. That could be a real turning point right here. Lateral press, Brian Morris and Mike Z with some degree of authority, but clearly just that kick out is taking a lot out of the guarantee. Neck breaker, focus, and only one. Mike Z is making up some ground. Mike Z has proven that he can be a late game player. I don't know what is in his system. If this is adrenaline, if this is conditioning, if this is sheer spite, but Mike Z making the most of the moment and knocked Brian Morris dang near out his boots. Tuning up, ready to play some percussion. Mike Z crashing the cymbals on the chest of Brian Morris. Olympic slam. Instinctually, Brian Morris rolls closer to the ropes, but not close enough. Has to expend the energy with a kick out. Those are those details. That's what makes Brian Morris an upper echelon performer. That's what got him to the title until he lost it to Sean Carlson, his longtime rival, the thorn in his side. And again, Brian Morris knows almost instinctually to get there. It's Christian just deciding to take Brian Morris out of the field of battle. Not sure if this was discussed. Mike Z has no interest in winning by a countout, a forfeit, a disqualification, or anything other than a clear and decisive pinfall or submission. Mike Z making it very clear that there's an order of operations here. He's going to take out Brian Morris. Then he's going to take out Christian. Then he's going to go and probably get a very nice meal from a fine dining establishment because he'll have earned it. And it's time. Is this the moment? Mike Z, guarantee. We're going to see it. We can experience it. No, we're not. Brian Morris had it scouted. To be fair, everyone has had it scouted. He calls the shot, and now Brian Morris takes the win. Mike Z is a great competitor, but maybe needs to stop telegraphing the Mike Z guarantee. Maybe change the order of operations to do the dance after you hit the move instead of before. I'm just saying, it's possible that maybe that's the turnaround. And Brian Morris, coming off that loss, gets one in the win column. He's not going to the bottom of the line. Brian Morris is always on his way back on top. Your winner and future 1CW champion, I do believe, future two-time champ, Brian Morris.
Today in our main event, the DSN Television Championship is on the line as Miles Millennium defends the title against the returning Jason Andrews. Let's take a look at how this match came about.
Miles Millennium is the measuring stick here at 1CW. There is not a person in that locker room, in the stand, that could lace my boots on my worst day. There he is right there. Jason Andrews, my biggest fan. You see, Jason used to want to be a wrestler until he saw how good Miles Millennium was.
Well, I mean, Miles wasn't technically wrong. I came back to watch. That's 100% true. But it wasn't as a fan. It was to scout the competition. And when I came back, Hardy gave me a deal. He said, I get to choose one person for my first match back. And Miles, you just signed your ticket to it.
Where'd he go? Where's Miles?
And now the time for our main event has arrived. Miles Millennium defends the DSN Television Championship against the returning Jason Andrews.
Phenomenal to see Jason Andrews ready to compete. Over the last several years, we have seen Andrews out of the ring first due to a series of injuries, but most recently it was not a physical ailment that plagued Andrews. It was more matters of the mind, heart, and spirit. Andrews had made a return to 1CW, had gotten shots at a number of different titles, the Workhorse title, the Bulletproof title, found himself unsuccessful and realized that his head just wasn't in the game. And shades of that being seen right now. Andrews just taking a moment to remove that chain, and that's all it takes. The vicious Miles Millennium striking first. Andrews' wild swings, and if there is ring rust for Jason Aaron, it's going to be a problem. Andrews gets that shoulder up, but Miles Millennium coming in hot and aggressive. Miles is in perfect peak conditioning. He has been wrestling at the top level here in 1CW. You can dislike his tactics, you can dislike his methodology, you can dislike the man he has become. You can't argue Miles Millennium is a star and does not want to be a star maker here for Jason Andrews. Big up and a big down for Miles Millennium. Jason Andrews, known as a tag team specialist. He was one half of Art of War. They dominated 1CW. They dominated tag team wrestling all across the Mid-Atlantic, but Jason Andrews has yet to cement himself as a dominant singles star. He's had big wins, but never taking it to someone dominantly like he is right now to Miles Millennium. Brutal shots exchanged by both men. It was only recently that Jason Andrews returned. Oh no, as Andrews smacked head first into the steel. Miles Millennium imploring referee James Rudy to count. There's a bit of a code of honor in professional wrestling that if possible you want to defeat your opponent by pinfall, disqualification, or knockout. Countdown almost considered the coward's way out. Miles Millennium had no problem trying to go for a count-out victory. Was counting his chickens well before they were hatched here in the heart of chicken farming. He should know better because Jason Andrews was in seconds. Barely 2 or 3 on the count before Andrews slid in, a side of Miles' desperation and overconfidence or Jason's determination. A little too early to be told. Fantastic height by Miles Millennium, who still only gets 2. There's the difference here. There is an...
Everybody be quiet.
Well, we've been told what to do. Oh, God. Spinal realignment. Do not think Miles Millennium has a degree as a chiropractor or anything similar. And now that he has targeted that upper back, the spine, the exploder, getting closer and closer to a successful defense against Jason Andrews. That's the peril of returning right to a title match. If Andrews goes down, where does he go from here? He's got to start at the very bottom of the line. And this just showcases the viciousness of Miles Millennium. He is not out to just beat Jason Andrews. He's looking to cause serious and potentially permanent damage to his neck. One thing that's been really impressive about Jason Andrews in his return is his strikes. Miles Millennium, an exceptional striker, particularly with that precision, but Andrews hitting hard. You can tell he's been working the bag, training in the time off, and that's been a big part of Jason Andrews' story. He's been very public with the fact that over the last several years, he lost someone very important to him. It affected him significantly, and he's been dedicating basically his life as an athlete and a man to that memory, living up to the belief and the faith in that relationship. This is an opportunity for Jason Andrews, though he doesn't have to prove anything to anyone. You try telling that man that. Jason Andrews has been feeling for a long time like he has something to prove to himself, to his others, to memories, and here he is potentially about to become a singles champion here in 1CW. So close. But Miles Millennium does not go down easy. He is slick. He will slither out of danger. But Andrews bringing power, bringing performance that you could see that ring rust is a little bit present, breathing heavily, can't deny it, can't ignore it. Miles is in better conditioning, and the reversal on display, that's the technique, and that is what makes Miles Millennium so dangerous. It's what makes him one of the best. And if he can keep this match going long, that conditioning, because being in a wrestling ring is unlike any other kind of conditioning. You cannot mimic it. It is a full body explosive workout constantly. There is nothing like it. You can train, you can be ready, you can run practice matches, but until you're in the deep water, you do not know if you can swim. There is no life jacket here for Jason Andrews. Right now, Andrews is on the defense, looking to turn things around. We do not see Andrews often go to the top. And even up there, it strikes. The man knows what he does best. He knows what brings him to the dance, and they are so effective, consistently turning the tide, the momentum on Miles Millennium. Millennium has used people. He has surrounded himself with cronies and hangers-on and seeming partners, and has turned his back on every single one of them as they have let him down. Big stack after the powerbomb. Tried to get into better positioning. Can't seem to maintain, but now looking for a Styles clash. Can Miles roll up? But Andrews immediately reverses. Very quick. Oh my God! Jason Andrews did it! This has to be considered an upset. Absolutely no one had this on their list of predictions. Jason Andrews' return was a feel-good story, but most people thought the story was just that Jason Andrews was returning. Not that he would come back and ascend the ladder this quickly, becoming the DSN champion, only the third in this title's history. There is no more doubts. There's no more questions. Is Jason Andrews ready? Has he lived up to the expectation he set up for himself? Has he lived up to the people he is trying to live up to for? He has. He is the DSN champion, Jason Andrews. Long may he reign.
Hear me out.
Stop!
Listen, hey, everybody, calm down. I understand, Miles, you just had a rough match just now. But I have some friends in some high up places, and they promised me gold. Listen, Miles, I can give you gold if you just listen to me. You saw what I did to Jake, what's his name? I beat Jake Blake up, and now I got some, listen, just hear me out, Miles, please, man. If anybody can help me, I know it's you. Listen, we had a pass, man. I thought you were hurt. This is my segment. It's Miles, man! You should have listened, Jake. You should have listened, brother. Miles, man!
And with those actions from Tommy Fame and Miles Millennium, we come to the end of this episode, also crowning a new DSN television champion. Everyone, have a great day.